Hi, I'm Lanisha Robinson, your host for Career and Technical Education, #Build a Future. Working in St. Lucie Public Schools with Career and Technical Education, CTE, we want to show you what our students and teachers are doing in the classroom to close the skills gap in multiple fields. The students in these programs are earning industry certifications, which create more opportunities and options for all students at their high school graduation. In this upcoming episode, you will meet Mr. Chad Fleming from St. Lucie West Centennial High School and learn more about the Outboard Marine Service Technology Program, which is a part of St. Lucie Public Schools. Welcome. Please go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
My name is Chad Fleming. I'm the Outboard Marine teacher with St. Lucie West Centennial High School.
I'm James Sell. I am one of his students.
All right. Welcome to the show. Now, Chad, working with the outboard marine industry, do you come with any experience prior to teaching?
Prior to teaching, I've always been in the industry. I was in St. Lucie Public Schools Transportation Department. I've worked at many local repair shops, facilities, boatyards, so on and so forth. So I have 16 years of solid background before I came into the teaching profession.
Okay. Do you take or participate in any training or courses to stay current in the field?
Yes. The certifications that we earn, the Ase certifications and the other certifications that we earn, there's always retests every so many years. So we have to go back and recertify after the certifications expire.
And please explain what exactly is the Outboard Marine program?
The Outboard Marine program, the easiest way that I'll explain it to you is how I explain it to everybody. It's the equivalent of an automotive service technology program, but instead of working on cars, we're working on boats. With all the technological advancements of the last 20 years in the Outboard program, we have to spend a lot more time working with things like with electronics, computer-based diagnostics, and that type of thing. We go through all the theory and operation of 2- and 4-stroke outboard engines. We work with fuel systems. The students learn how electrical systems and computers operate. We even get down to doing some trailer repairs and also are able to incorporate an introduction to welding into the program because it's a pretty good skill to have no matter what industry you're in.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Now, James, why did you decide to get into the program?
Well, I've always loved being near the water and on the water with boats specifically, and doing that you always need some kind of knowledge on what you're getting into, and being in the program and being able to get some of the certifications that they offer, it always helps when you have it and you're on the water and you need to use it, or it also helps with future jobs. So if we have the certifications and I want to get into that, I have it and it's always with me.
Okay. So when you talk about certifications, what certifications do you offer your students?
As of the moment, we're offering a handful of certifications, one of which is a Yamaha Outboard Marine Training Program. It's the ITOS, or Introduction to Outboard Systems. Mm-hmm. So we're offering that program, and due to the coronavirus, now we have a lot of students working virtually, and they can actually complete that certification via computer from their home, and it makes everything much easier, and we're able to keep the curriculum even across the board with all of the classes in the different years. So that's one is the ITOS. The second certification, we're working with the Ase Certification program, and we're focusing on, first year we're focusing on engine repair and electrical, which are two heavy places we spend a lot of time. Mm-hmm. In the upcoming years here, we've been in talks with ABYC, and we're working on getting that curriculum and those certification opportunities brought to the school also.
Wow. So are your students able to take these certifications and get employment later? What can they do with this certification?
Well, with the Ase certification, it really opens a tremendous amount of doors. If they wanted to go work at a boatyard or a marina, that's an avenue they could take. If they wanted to take the Ase certification and go work at a car dealership or an automotive shop, that's an avenue they could potentially pursue. We're also, one of the areas that we're focusing heavily on is the boater's safety course. It's a free online platform safety course they can take, and it gives them the equivalent of a boater's license. So some of our local partners that we're with, the companies that we work with, that's one of the requirements. They really like the students to have that that safety course completed so they know what they're supposed to do on the water, and it covers a tremendous amount of material. It covers flotation devices, life jackets. It helps them understand all the parts of the boat, the bow, port side, starboard side. It helps them understand what the different channel markers are, the different colors, and what they mean depending on your direction. So there's a lot of things that we're incorporating into the program, and it really does open up a lot of avenues for the students to be able to find employment after they graduate from high school.
Wow. So with certifications, James, have you earned any certifications?
Well, right now I have the electrical ASC and the motor design ASC. Right now, that's all I have.
Okay. Are you planning on pursuing any employment opportunities after you graduate or even currently?
Right now, yes, and with the ASCs, it really is going to help me. I'm planning to get the Yamaha certification that we're going to do at the end of this year, and that's going to help me a lot also.
Okay. Now, going back to that, what is your career path? Because you're mentioning, you can get the Yamaha certification. What do you plan on, what is your future goals after you graduate from high school?
Well, you can always use those working for dealerships. You can go and you can work on warranty work, or you can go and work at small marinas, repair shops like that, or you can start your own business, do anything of that sort really with the certifications.
Okay. So Chad, with your students in your classroom, are you hearing, I'm sure they're talking about, hey, this is what I want to do in my future. What kind of career goals do your students have, like other students besides James?
I mean, students beside James, and James has really been a highlight of the program the first year and the second year, and I will say that for sure. But the program opens so many avenues, in our first year program, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've done an introduction to welding, and just to give them a crash course, how does it work, how do we do it, and now I have students that tell me, I think I really want to go to school to be a welder. Do you know where I can go to school, or do you know who I can talk to? And IRSC has an incredible welding program. Mm-hmm. So I can put them in touch with the department chair and the instructors, and then they can follow that avenue. And then we're also going to start touching on HVAC. And if students want to work on air conditioning, whether it's automotive or commercial or residential-based air conditioning, they all work off the same basic set of operating principles, so that opens a door there too. I've had students that go through the electrical section and really decide that they like working with electricity. Mm-hmm. And then I have students what we've worked with through boot camps that want to be electricians. So, I mean, here's the thing is teaching somebody the ability to work with their hands, teach them, safe tools and work practices. It really does open an avenue for a plethora of job opportunities. On boats we have plumbing, we have electrical, we have welders, we have people that fix the hull of the boat, the fiberglass, and do painting. So I mean, it's not just one facet of the industry, that it's not just one door that it opens. It opens a tremendous amount of doors. Mm-hmm. So you can talk to one student and he'll tell you he wants to be a welder, and you can talk to the next student and he'll tell you want to be a boat captain. So it's just whatever they hear of that they're interested in, or what they start to work with that they're really interested in, and it's the spark that starts the fire. Mm-hmm. And then once they do that, then they have at least somewhat of an idea. It gives them some direction.
Right, and that's amazing. So with those opportunities, looking at St. Lucie Public Schools, we're in St. Lucie County. Do you feel like there's a need or a demand for your students to have even job placement if they decide to go straight into a career after high school?
Absolutely. There's a tremendous amount of companies as of right now today that are hiring in almost every aspect you can possibly imagine. Boat membership-based boat companies, marinas, dealerships. I mean, everybody, especially with as good as the economy is right now, everybody's looking for help. Everybody's hiring people. Mm-hmm. So it puts us in a really good position. And then through the things that we do at the school board, we work with the Economic Development Council and Career Source, and we're able to fill those gaps between what do I do when I graduate high school and being able to find some employment, And I'm sure that you're well aware, we're always working to try to fill that gap, because we don't want students to think, oh, this is just what I'm going to do for a living. We want those students to be able to have an idea when they leave school, and if they're interested in something, we want to be able to provide the opportunity for them to explore that within a business. And in the same breath, we're helping our companies by feeding them a labor force. So it is incredibly mutually beneficial.
Okay. So with these skills that you're teaching your students, do you do a lot of hands-on demonstrations? Do you do a lot of hands-on skills or work with your students or projects?
We do. It's the better part of the first Outboard Marine 1, which is the first half of their first year. There's a lot of safety. Obviously we're around a lot of equipment, rotating equipment, engines, electricity, and we don't want anybody getting hurt. So we spend a lot of time with safety. Then after that, they go to take engines apart, they're putting them back together. I really try to shoot for a 50-50 mix. We'll sit in the classroom and talk about something, and then let's go ahead and try to apply that knowledge in the shop. And then we come back and, if we can gauge that the students all absorb the information well, then we can go ahead and move back to, we don't have to review it again. If they all have a good understanding of it, we can go ahead and just move forward to the next topic.
Okay. So James, what do you think is your favorite project or hands-on demonstration or project or hands-on skill that you did in the classroom?
Well, recently we've taken on small group projects, and we've gone to an engine that has an issue, and we've had to take it apart, find the issue, report it to him, or any issue that we think could have caused the engine to fail, and then we have to put it back together, kind of like in a real world situation where, if that was a customer, you have to take everything apart, find it, replace it, and then put it back together also. You can't just take it apart and then, you're done. So it is really helpful being able to have him teach us like what everything is, and then being able to go right over into the setting where we can look at it, use it, and actually figure out what's wrong.
All right. So one of the things I would just like to kind of bring back in is that you're basically, as a teacher, you're teaching them with the lecture setting, but you're also giving them that hands-on time to actually apply what they're learning, correct?
Absolutely, and you have to, and it's absolutely imperative. And the reason being is because we can sit in a classroom and I can talk till I'm blue in the face all day, but unless a student actually gets up and they put their hands on a camshaft and they know what a wrench feels like right before a bolt is going to snap off, those are just things that we can't teach. Those are things somebody would have to manually, they would have to experience it with their hands in order for them to actually know.
Okay.
So that's really incredibly important.
All right. So one of the things that we want to take a moment and we're going to show a brief clip or a highlight of some of the things that's going on in your classroom. There's a brief video that we're going to show everyone. It was created by Zandrin at St. Lucie West Centennial High School. So Chad, how many courses will a student need to take to actually complete your Outboard Marine program?
Entire completion of the Outboard Marine program is broken down into 7 segments. The first 4 segments are Outboard Marine 1 through 4, and they cover things like engine, theory and operation, 2 strokes, 4 strokes, electrical, fuel systems, a plethora of things, trailer repair. It's very, very intense curriculum. Then when we get to the 5th and the 6th year, those are our advanced outboard marine technology. And then the very, very last part of the program is the 7th section, which is a capstone for the program, where we teach the students how businesses operate. They learn how to write a resume. We make sure that they have every skill that we can equip them with so that we know that they're successful and they do enter the workforce.
All right, so Chad, with your students in your classroom, so we've mentioned the career exploration where they can go to get a job right after high school, right? Mm-hmm. But then you also have the college track, right? So what do you do to make sure that your students are aware of or what's available, what opportunities are available for them for a college level?
Well, we try to stay closely tied to the local college here, Indian River State College. They have a tremendous amount of programs that are tied in one way or another to our program. You know, we have the automotive program, we have HVAC, we have the welding program. So this program really opens a lot of doors. And one thing that we try to do, among other things, is we try to do virtual field trips. So even though, because of COVID restrictions, we can't have the students stepping foot on the campus as of right now as a school, we can still perform those virtual field trips, and it gives them an idea of the overview of the program. It lets them know what the curriculum is like, what the shop looks like, and there's also other companies we've partnered with. Piper Aircraft, they have an internship program. We do virtual field trips with Piper Aircraft.
And you have one upcoming, don't you? With Freedom Boats, you have one coming up?
Yes, as a matter of fact, yes. We do have a virtual field trip coming up with Freedom Boat Club, and like I said, you know, and previously I've mentioned that just that one business, there's so many different positions that need to be filled, you know, from dock hands to captains. I mean, there's really a lot of avenues for the students to follow after they're done with this program.
Okay. So do you offer any opportunities, not necessarily opportunities, but do you go over like employability skills, those soft skills for students to be aware of, hey, this is the information I need to know now, so when I go get my job or once I go to college, this is what I could expect?
Of course, and one of the things is showing up on time to class. And you know, we talk to a lot of local businesses, and we have developed a lot of local partnerships. And one of the answers that we get equally across the board is about soft skills, employability. And it's the simple things like showing up to work, remembering to clock in. Last year, we initiated a program where the students would actually have to come into the program. They would have to sign their name on a clipboard and then put the time that they got there and then the time that they left. And it sounds silly. The students think it's superfluous, but at the end of the day, we're teaching them the practice and the habit of clocking in with a time clock or clocking in with a computer. So even though they don't understand there's learning these little things, we're really doing our best to make sure we can get all of those skills very well honed before they enter the workforce.
Okay, thank you. Now, James, what are your thoughts on that when you look at employability skills? You know, looking at what Mr. Fleming, what he's providing you these opportunities, how are these a benefit for you?
Well, even though the employability skills, it works for any job. Even if a student came in there and they didn't go with the Marine path or anything of that sort, having those skills that he's teaching us helps in any job that you could possibly get. Being able to remember to come in, clock in like he said, or any of the skills that he has taught us will help you anywhere.
Now, when you're on campus and you're talking with your friends or your peers and you're telling them about your Outboard Marine program that you're actually in, and not only that, but you're invested in this program, right?
Yeah.
So what do they ever ask you questions? Like, what are the benefits of being in the program as a student?
Well, everyone really wants to know about the program. All the classes are really filled up. There's not really much room left because everybody's really enjoyed it. And with the program, you are able to kind of get a little step back from the normal classroom setting and be able to get hands-on activity, which with some students really helps.
Okay. All right. So we mentioned also with looking at college preparation. Now, with your students, they're earning certifications, right? Multiple ones at that. But you're also getting college credit through articulation agreement. Do you want to explain some of that for us?
Yes, with some of the certifications that we offer, the Ase certifications, the students, we have an articulation agreement set up with Indian River State College, where the students will actually be able to gain college level credits for their certifications and their time inside the classroom here at Centennial.
Okay. Now let's go back also, you're mentioning welding. What was the reason why you decided to actually add or implement welding? Because not all the marine industry, I would say programs across the state actually have welding, but this is something that's unique for St. Lucie West Centennial.
Right, and here's the thing with the welding. When we start getting into electricity, electricity is a tangible in the sense that we can measure it, but it's not tangible in the sense that I can, you know, hold it up like a broken engine part and say, this is what a bad piston looks like, this is what a good piston looks like. So in order to help fill that gap, I've showed them an activity, something that we can take electricity and we're turning it into work in the form of heat to be able to bind two pieces of metal together. And like I said previously, it really opens up the avenues if there's students who have never been around it and if it really ignites a spark or a fire, then they know, you know, hey, I might want to be a welder. Or, you know, we try to do that with all the different facets, all the different avenues. So no matter what industry you go in, there might be a section where being able to do a little bit of welding could become beneficial for you. You know, it's always something you can add on your resume at the end of the day, and I don't think it's going to hurt.
Right, exactly. Now, James, have you had the opportunity to do any welding in your classroom?
I have. I've done a little bit here and there, and I really think that it is going to help later on because, especially with the marine field, if you go into it, fabrication is something that you're always going to need to do. And him teaching us that in early stages is really going to help.
Okay. So with industry certifications, and you've mentioned welding, you're implementing new activities, project-based learning. Now, for industry partners that you may have, like your advisory board, do you all actually have an active advisory board? And then do you want to mention who's actually on that?
We do have our first advisory board meeting is coming up shortly here. But Freedom Boat Club is on our advisory board. We've also partnered with some of the local mobile and or stationary repair facilities. On-site Mobile Marine is one of them. He's a mobile service, and he's agreed to be on our advisory board. We've actually pulled in Indian River State College in the automotive program, just because they have a lot of industry ties and they might be able to help. There's also other different companies, anywhere from Jensen Beach to Sebastian, who have agreed to sit on the advisory board and tell us what is the scope that you would like us to follow to provide you with successful employees.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that having an active advisory board committee like that or a group, do you feel that that also helps you as an educator as well?
Absolutely. It gives me bullet points along the way of my roadmap. That is the program, and it gives me the ability to make sure the students have what they need, and like I said, be able to supply these local businesses to be able to give students the opportunities to go in and learn and make sure they have what they need. So it's really mutually beneficial, and it's a great setup.
Okay. So with having, let's say they're saying, this is a technology that we're using in the real world. This is what we're using outside the classroom. Because of that, have you decided, like, hey, these are some purchases that we have made because of that?
Yes. And one of the direct purchases that we've made as a program through our grants we've received is the Yamaha YDIS software and the diagnostic interface for it. You know, boats nowadays are kind of like cars. We can't just open the cowl and start poking around with a screwdriver. It's getting to the point now where we have to be able to hook a computer up to the engine to see what's going on with it. And that's one of the major purchases that we've used. And students being able to use that technology is really imperative. With the electronic world that we live in now, it's not going to be getting any simpler. It's only going to be getting more difficult and challenging.
Okay. So as we're looking at, ending out, can you tell us one more time, why is this program vital to community? Why is it important that St. Lucie Public Schools has this program for our St. Lucie County students?
Well, there's a tremendous amount of growth going on in Fort Pierce. There's lots of big companies and lots of big industries that are being created here. You know, we have Director coming into the port, and we need to be able to help feed that talent pipeline with the appropriate scope of employees. Hopefully, some of our students will end up there, and it creates a really great opportunity for everybody. Gives the students somewhere they can learn, they can earn a decent paying wage so they can earn a living. It teaches them to work with their hands, soft skills, employability, and then there's people that start at a big company like Director or Freedom Boat Club and work their way up, and they can end up in management or any other position. So it's really imperative that we're able to have this program. We're able to tie it to the community, so we make sure that we're meeting the community's needs, and then that we're also giving a gift. We're also giving our students the opportunity to say, hey, I really like working on boats. Maybe this is something I'll do. And you know what? No matter what happens after they're done with high school, whether they go to college or they become an accountant or get an MBA, they'll always have that skill set. So no matter what happens in their life, they can always use that set of skills, and they'll always be able to make a living using their hands.
Okay. All right, so as we prepare to close, can you tell us if a community member or someone watching the show and they want to find out more information about the Outboard Marine program, is there a website or a resource they can go to for that information?
Yes, I do believe that there's information on the school board's website. I also am under the understanding that under the St. Lucie West Centennial High School's website, there's going to be There's information available where they'll be able to go on and see the video like you were talking about before. So that way they can get a kind of an idea. You know, we get all these questions all the time. You know, people think that the program is a marine biology program because we use the term marine. And, you know, we have students who end up in the program who think it's a marine program, science, from a science standpoint, but it's not. And a lot of them are surprised. So, there's definitely resources. You can check the program out, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to the school, the local district, or myself, and we will answer any questions that you have.
So thank you both for joining us today. I'm Lanisha Robinson, and this is Career and Technical Education, #Build a Future. We encourage you to view our St. Lucie Public Schools Career and Technical Education webpage. In the Career and Technical Education, we are merging the career pathways pipeline for each of our students. We are building a future and continuing to close a skills gap. On behalf of the station's team, I'd like to thank you for joining us today.